That was a full, deep gurgle. Hold on. I'm just waiting a second. Just waiting to make sure that we're actually in. And then I will play this very, very important music. eBay Reseller News Now. Where we talk about important things today that happened yesterday. Possibly tomorrow. Also. Aloha, everybody. Welcome to, what's the name of it again? eBay Reseller News Now. Aloha and welcome. Heavy hellos with the shaka from Sal, Wendy. Happy Tuesday. Jack is number one. You were wondering if it's going to happen? At this point, we're going to do it every Tuesday and Wednesday at 2:30. I would love to do it at 1, but Josh Galt has that premiere 1 o'clock. Ooh, I salivate over 1 o'clock because then I can be done. But now we're going to go from 2:30 to like 4-ish. That's the plan from now until forever. Aloha. Welcome, big dog. Steve is in the house. Gina is in the house. You know, this house has to have a lot of seats because there's so many people in it. Nesbitt Experience, aloha. Vintage Val, aloha. 6x6 is here. No, Josh does not have that shirt. In fact, I do believe Josh only shops at the Big and Beige store. Because I know he's a tall guy. Surprisingly, most people on YouTube are tall. That does happen a lot for some reason. But hold on, before anybody switches away, for those of you who are watching later or watching now and want to know what we're going to talk about, I honestly have I have some. It's not necessarily news. Well, it's eBay Reseller News Now is what it is. Okay, enough of that. So, the first thing I want to do is I want to talk about this thing with the person last week. Hold on, I'm trying to do this all at once. And then I'm going to go, what do I do? Don't mess it up. Don't mess it up. Do whatever you can not to screw it up. Okay. So, last week, the last comment, I think this came right as we were leaving the show, eBay Reseller Group Therapy, which had been last Wednesday. Which is there's too much time in between the shows. So then if something happens on Wednesday, I have to wait till Tuesday to answer it. Maybe we should do more shows. By the way, I'm Primo Chemo, and this is Miss Spam Banshee back here, who tomorrow will sit up here and she's allowed to join in the fun. But today she is a worker and works there so that we can afford to keep the internet on. Because boy, sales have not been good this first week. But I wanted to show you this. So this is 5 days ago now. So this is go set your Wayback Machines 4 days to Jora Jaha said, I'm still riding high since Christmas. My total sales are up 46.4 year over year. I wonder if was that just 2023 or are you including those few days into January? Because January sales have been really down. And net sales are up. I mean, that's just great. No promoting this. So no promotion has been happening, has helped my net since September. Net is all that I care about. Luckily, I have only 20 days since September 2022, and one was intentional. Impressions are, and this is the 20-70-10 split that we always talk about, 25, 59, 15 in December 22. It was 2.8. 8.2 and 89. WTF question mark. This is what we're going to talk about today. Wallace promoting top 20 impressions went from 24,000 last December to 244,000 last December to 593 this December. Page views December 2022 while promoting 21,287. This December, semi-nuke, no promotions, 21,654. More. Also, mystery. What was I paying hundreds of dollars for? Your reset plan has changed everything for me. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I was way behind on paying myself, and I've now attained full expected income. Now, that's what we want to hear. That's what I want to hear. That is worth doing 3 months of videos for, just to see something like that. Now I'm going to go back over here. I'm going to make myself big. Check this out. Ta-da! Here I am big. So that's the important thing about today, is that in some way, should I turn on this light? Hold on. I forgot to turn this one on. Lights really, we have lighting problems. Is that better or worse? Oh, okay. So it's very shadowy, but also better. I was dark. Now I'm light. Now I'm the light. I bring you from the darkness into the light. That's so lame. So let me just say hi to everybody. Biff is present. Welcome, Biff. And I'm just going to give you everybody, Patricia, Lucinator69, Georgia, aloha. Oh, did you just catch that we're just talking about your message from last week? But you all get a big... Oh, and Lucinator's in Belgium. What time is it there? It's later there, I'm sure. It's evening. Well, good evening, Lucinator. Georgia, yeah, we were talking about your note from last Wednesday when you sort of just threw up your numbers in the messages. And then I wanted to show you this. So let's just go. We're going to go right over here. And I'm going to show you. So the first thing I'm going to do is show you. I'm just going to match your numbers here. I want to look at this. So this right here, let me see. Boom, here I am. Go to small. Okay. So what we've got here is we got your, this is December 2022. And I want to, let's see, I'm going to go here. So this is 2022, December 2022, right there. See? December 1st through December 31st, 2022. You can see my impressions by placement, 4.3, 11.8. 83.9. Now, this matches exactly what Georgia was saying. And what we've all been saying is that promoted listings takes your promoted out of these first two chunks, where you would think that would be the best place to have your impressions, is in the top 20 search slot impressions to the rest of the search slot impressions. And so let's just agree that 20-70-10 is a good ratio, and that non-search impressions aren't better than search slot impressions. Now the question is, how many page views did I have? Okay, well maybe you couldn't see. Okay, so up here. So how many page views did I have? So let's look. Let's just let's measure apples to apples here. So while promoting December 1st, 2022. I had, while promoting at 6.5%, 6.5% people, I got 233 page views. Okay. That is, hold on. Let me make sure. This is very important. So hold on. In fact, so wait, is this the right one? Yeah. Okay, so on 2022, December 1st, I got, and this is, again, roughly the same inventory, roughly the same amount of inventory, blah, blah, blah. 233 page views. This year, December 1st, 683 page views. Is that nearly triple? I'm not promoting at all. Do you see any green in here at all? Zero green. No green, no caffeine, no lean, nothing, no promotion. I have tripled my page views over last year. Now, why? I don't know. Please tell me. Everybody, please explain this. Somebody super smart, come here and explain it all to me and tell me. Now, when we look at my impressions, my overall, this is this year from October through December, or through today or whatever. There's a couple things that I wanted to show you on here. One thing is that for sure you can just simply, I always point this out, so this is boring, but When I stopped promoting somewhere around November 11th, you can see that I didn't lose any page views until December 11th, where they just halved these external site views. That was just arbitrary. That was administratively done. Everyone, I'm sure, noticed that. I know people who did. On December 10th, the day that they lowered my page views, I had the most sales that I've had on this entire fourth quarter chart. Number of sales. Not I don't think it was the most money, but it was definitely the most number of sales. So again, impressions almost meaningless, page views kind of meaningless. Really all that matters is sales, and when you look at it from this point of view, I still have no idea what to make out of any of it. I don't promote anything. I'm making this money. If I promoted, would I make more? No. You can see that here. If this is all based on the nuclear reset, this is all just me resetting my store every day. All these numbers are resetting my store every day, except for this first little chunk right here from October 11th to October 26th. And the days that spike are a reset, and the days that don't spike are not. And on the days that don't spike, I get 305 total views. On the days that, on every other day that I do a nuclear reset, I get 685 views. Then when they halved me, I went to 480. That's still way more than not doing a reset every day. So anyway, promoted listings, as far as I can tell, don't work at all. I mean, and they do work. That's a stupid thing to say. But the other thing I wanted to do while I remain in here is this. So I've got to get organized this year. So I've done a lot of talking for the past quarter. I'm trying to figure out how to affect everything based on, give actual advice based on, obviously it has to be based on the type of seller you are. And so here's my little Venn diagram that I'm trying to figure out what the differences and what the similarities are. Everything sellers, a lot of them have been having some good sales, because you can sell anything and you can pivot. So there's no reason. And we have our newer sales people, and we have people that are going to the thrift stores every day, looking for items to flip. That's your everything seller. Also, somebody that's sourcing all the time as a clothing seller. I, as a vintage collectible seller, I don't source all the time, because you can't just go buy this stuff. You have to work at buying it. So there's some really huge differences between those two, but I'm trying to figure that out. So anyway, Jack says, back in the day when I was a professional Magic the Gathering player, my team considered it a win for all if one of our teammates won the event. It's good to hear from someone winning at eBay last year. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Georgia. And I did not win at eBay this year. Neither one of us, because it's the same stores. So we did not win at eBay this year, although we survived eBay this year. So that's good. And some people thrived. I mean, the nuclear reset is why we didn't die. And it's just an amazing tool and I hope they let it keep going. So it's 8:30 in, wait, I'm sorry. I forgot where you're from already. I thought Brussels, but it was, where is it? What? Belgium. Is Brussels in Belgium? Yes. Brussels is in Belgium. I've been to Antwerp and stayed at a hotel with a soccer team once there. Tommy Bernard is here. What are the sales? That's what matters. Impressions, views mean nothing. What are the sales? You said many times you totally changed what you listed this year. No. So Tommy, no, we did not. No, absolutely not. We did not totally change what we listed this year. No. And Darth Rifter, aloha. Thank you very much. For being here, by the way. I didn't finish that sentence. No, we did not. Essentially what we did this year, Tommy, is we wanted to make a baseline of sales using our Fracking the Hoard items. So we come from selling large items, high sell-through rate items, mid-century modern furniture, high-end vintage electronics, things like that. So when things, over the years, over 24 years, by the way, I've made millions of dollars on eBay. So I think that says something. Somewhere between 1 million and 200 million in 24 years. It's actually not an impressive stat, except for when you say it, it's kind of impressive. So we have made million plus on eBay. So what was I saying before I said million plus? We're mid-century millionaires. So we came from selling high-end, high sell-through rate items. and we wanted to sell all these really high quality but low price items. So that's what we've been working on this year, is building up the inventory of all these items that just sit in storage forever and ever and ever because they were too small for us to sell. So that's the whole Fracking the Hoard project, is fracking. Looking for small value items out of the big pile. So no, we did not, but what we did change is we did not list as many, and that does speak to the numbers. We have not listed as many high-end vintage computing items, which could potentially make the difference up between our, very pathetic, sad numbers from this year and what we experienced last year. So, did our vintage computing items amount to 30% of our sales last year? Sort of. So when I'm saying that we've dropped 30%, does that just make up for it? So would that mean that we have noticed absolutely nothing? Tommy, no, seriously. We built up our store at the beginning of the year until June. So everything that we've sold after June was the same. Everything that we sold at the beginning of the year up until June is the same. June, we made a 5-figure number, and in July we crashed down. So we made about $10,000 in July, and then we were in the 3,500s we made about 10 grand in June and about 3,500 in July. Now, and that wobbled 3,500, 4,000 for the rest of the year till we ended the year at about 38% of December 2022's numbers. So if you're talking about numbers specifically, yeah, there's a little bit of explanation there, but really the big difference is when people had a whole bunch of crap in their account on one day, and then on the next day, so in my case, it was June 31st, and by July 4th, we had lost technically more than half of our income from one month to the other. But we also, July and August are historically crappy. So the inventory was identical between before the June jump to after the June jump. And we didn't, for the rest of this year, add too many significant pieces as to see if we could keep roughly $5,000 a month going with just selling records and Atari cartridges, small fracked items from our pile. And we did. Through the nuclear reset, we kept the floor. We did not lose more. And we did not add high sell-through rate, high value items to artificially, well, obviously we're doing an experiment here, so we are scientists. So we didn't want to mess up our science. But Tommy, yeah, there's nothing that can be said when something, and this happened again at the end of this year to a lot of people, not everybody, but who else noticed it from December 31st to January 1st? And continuing on at the beginning of this year, sales are crap. So I would say specifically that it's I want to say that on June, the end of June, they were pumping the numbers. They were pumping that dynamic advertising, because that was a really big second quarter numbers they had to come up with. And that's when they came up and said, yeah, everybody loves product listing. It's going to be great. And then the next year they just lied and said it was great. And 80% of people said that it was awesome. I don't believe them. And then when I say that, I have to believe what they tell me, but I just don't believe them. And then this quarter, at the very end of the quarter, they were giving everybody a great December. I mean, do they have the power to give and then taketh? Not as, yeah, they do, actually. They can limit us by the amount we sell per month. They can limit us by the number of items we sell, because they have those. Everybody has those limits. Sales are definitely, so yeah, Tommy, just to follow you along, because it is apples to apples for this year. For last year, I wouldn't. That's why I'm not really measuring my sales from last year so much, because pretty much I think I could account for the difference in just the volume of computer sales that we made last year on purpose, and then didn't make any of those this year on purpose, while trying to keep the fracking items like these, just the low end items. We basically this year tried to enter in. We tried to go back. We tried to go backwards. So while everyone should be changing their inventory to more higher sell through and higher blah blah blah, we lowered it, and I still believe that this is a way to do business. That's why we really value James's information, while we are selling a different type of lower value item. It's about the lower value items paying the bills, and with some low spots, we've actually paid the bills this year with the Fracking the Hoard idea. Now, could we have put a little money away by getting some of this super pile over here, which we're going to make a video about this super pile, where I'm looking at, Bang & Olufsen turntables, dozens of consoles that are working, but they do require that they're not just like go grab them, picture them, sell them. They're like clean them. They've all been tested a million times, but still, I'm sure something will go wrong while listing them. Have to gather all their controllers together, which are all organized, and we are executing a 2024 blast off plan, which essentially is just doubling our store, moving items that we have identified. So when we're listing things, we're listing. For instance, we have some 8-tracks on our store. We haven't sold an 8-track in about 3 months. That's because earlier this year, we listed the entire collection of 8-tracks, and we sold thousands of dollars worth of 8-tracks. Why? Because they were collectible, wrapped 8-tracks, still sealed. Adam Ant only released on Adam Ant, Culture Club. Some other items that were released in 1983 only to Columbia Record Club. So it's highly collectible type items. And obviously the 8-tracks that we have left are the junk ones that nobody wants. So those are going to be taken off of this main site, moved over to our B inventory site, and they can sit there till the end of time and turn to stone. Okay. Big Mama said, go big, and here we are. Let's see. Gina is listing mostly and listening. Sales are terrible today. Promoted listings loved by sellers who see it as driving out small fry competition. Yeah. I mean, first of all, I think everyone says that promoted listings are good in cramped categories. And that's true. And if you sell, well, here I go saying, I don't know where Kevin is today, Stoic Reseller. I mean, he is not, 6x6 says easy for you to say. Is that me talking over my tongue? I feel like my tongue is like 2 sizes too big. But the promoted listings are for people, but Stoic Reseller has not promoted, and he picks out very perfect clothing pieces, and that's what he sells, and he doesn't promote, and he does well. So promotions is a crutch at best, and I'm not sure by my numbers. Tommy, where have you gone? Actually, Tommy answered my questions, I think, because what he really said up here is, what are the sales are what matters. Impressions, views mean nothing. What are the sales? The sales. Tommy wants to know the sales. Tommy, we have to get in the time machine to go see the sales. Well, I kind of told you what the sales were. What you need to know is make sure the apples are to apples, and that is the items are from the zero insertion fee categories. So should we go look at that? So eBay, zero insertion fees. These are very important. So if you want to do the nuclear reset, which I find to be the most effective thing, I don't find promoted listing seems to lower your page views. Oh, wait. Tommy, hold on a second. I'm going to show Tommy something else as soon as I'm done with this. Sellers can use additional fixed price listings in the local categories. Okay, so here we go. I go here. Now I go small. Then I go here. So sellers can use additional allocation of fixed price listings in the following select categories: sports memorabilia, cards, fan shop, trading, sports cars, toys and hobbies, collectible card games, collectibles, all music, all books, all movie TV, all video games and consoles, just the video games, not the consoles, all stamps, all crafts, all home and garden party supplies. So there you go. So, oh wait, if you have a basic premium, wait, those are zero insertion fees. Just those are zero insertion fee listings for blah blah blah. Fee listings per month. Zero insertion fees per month. Nope. Store, basic store, you get 1,000 plus an additional 10. Premium store, you get 10,000 plus an additional 50 in select categories. I thought it was talking about these, but then down here it also sells how it works, adding some of the things you should be aware of. If you have a basic anchor or premium stores, you can only use your zero insertion fees in the following categories. But it has different ones. I'm not sure why they're slightly different than the ones up there. But antiques, arts, clothing, coins, collectibles, dolls and bears, entertainment, health and beauty, jewelry, pottery, glass, sports mem, stamps, toys and hobbies. Not sure why they're promoting stamps. But I figure there's like 3 people left that collect stamps still, but they seem to be promoting it for some reason. I don't know. Anyway, that is that. And then I wanted to say to Tommy about I forget now. I don't know. Bendel says, Jack's wondering if people have any reasonable clue as to what eBay plans to do this year. No, we don't. And, they're not giving us any play-by-play because they want to keep us on our toes. That's clear. And keep us guessing. And you know what? That's another reason why I think promoted listings are, less valuable to people who are not, who I think are, with my Venn diagram with, if you're an anything seller, well, it depends on what you're selling. I would assume clothing is the most congested categories and would require promoted listings, but Stoic doesn't need to because he knows what he's selling. So he's selling the good items, the good clothing, and he knows how to do that. But not everybody knows how to do that. So I think that if you're using, so far, I feel like you use promoted listings to promote items that are not superstars. And then why? It's all I would just do the nuclear reset. And I also wanted to point out that, what's the value of the nuclear reset? So, and I just did a quick little breakdown. I think that how much do people promote normally? Is 10% a reasonable number to promote? I've most certainly promoted for more than that. When I just let it roll, it was 6.5. And then when I lowered it to nothing, I lowered it to 2.6. But I hear people, YouTubers say that 10% is kind of a normal thing. And so if you were just to look at it from that point of view, and you had $5,000 in sales a month, you would be spending $500 at 10%, right, on those items. And tell me if I'm wrong, because I'm bad at math. So $5,000 times, so you're spending $500. You're spending $5,000 a month. You sell at 10%. You're spending $500 on promoted listings. I myself spend about 15 minutes relisting my items. Of course, there's a certain amount of items and everything, but it's 2,000 items. So 15 minutes times 30 equals 450, right? 15 minutes times 30 days a month. That equals about 450 minutes. Divide that by 60. You get 7.5 hours it takes me to do emotional reset on my store every day. And if you divide that $500 by 7.5 hours, that equals $66.66, the mark of the beast. I pay myself $66 a month an hour to do the nuclear reset, if that makes sense. I mean, does it make sense? I don't know if it makes sense, but it does. I mean, I am getting paid $66 to do the nuclear, or if you're using 10% as your promoted listing price, I'm making $66 doing the nuclear reset, or I'm spending that money paying myself that $66 instead of eBay. That's what we have going so far. Okay, so when Wendy says no, there's nobody has any. eBay has no idea what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing. They're gonna leave us twisting in the wind, is what they're gonna do, and leaving our cheese out in the wind. Most of my items are in the categories Bendel 420. It's kind of the only way to do it, really, or at least it's a great roadmap. Wendy says, Jack says, do you think the past 3 months are what eBay is going to be over the next 12? And Wendy answers, not sure. They still seem to be working out issues. I think they're just implementing their evil plans. Biff Boffo says, I think liquidation buyers who are all getting the same merch need to promote. Yes, of course. So if you're just selling the stuff that has high sell-through rates, and then everyone is doing that because those are the things that because everyone's saying go do that, it's a race to the top as opposed to the bottom, right? Your prices have to go down, your promotion has to go up if you're selling those. Oh, Tommy's back. There are only two ways to sell in categories with competition: sell below market rate and wait for the buyer that sorts low to high, or promote and sell at market. Yes. So, yeah, sure. I tend to not. Do you think, Tommy? Do we think that these categories that they're promoting of the zero insertion fee categories? Do we think those are heavily used, heavy competition categories, or are they low competition categories? And that's why they're trying to encourage people to list in those categories. Curious why those zero insertion fees categories are there in the first place. I don't know. I mean, I can guess, but I don't know. Josh says, hello, gang. Aloha, Josh. Welcome to the party. Thanks for your episode, which always gets us thinking. Listening while driving. Mine has certainly taken a dump since January 1st. Yeah. And it's really interesting that on June 31st, I had the highest sales of my life on eBay outside of December. And on January 1st, the lowest. I mean, in recent history. And it's because they were trying that fourth quarter. It has something to do, Josh, and it's something to do with investment, showing taxes, doing something that doesn't have to do with sellers. Has to do with eBay and their whole game, and they just don't care about us. I mean, they don't care about the plebes. That's more or less what I think is truly happening. And those people who can use the tools and build their business in the ways that they do, those are the ones who are really flourishing right now. But they're not people they're just people who are, people. I don't know who they are. But people who are selling anything sellers, and have their stuff together and know what stuff is selling and the hot stuff. Like, for instance, there's no doubt in my mind right now that digital cameras are hot, that massagers are hot, that there are items that you can just go out and find right now, sell, and they will sell. And there are people who know what those are. But at the same time, if everyone knows what those are, then of course, So I've always prided myself on being in sort of obscure categories in order to insulate myself from that. And those are the people who saw the big, catastrophic 2023, I think. Not some people didn't, but collectibles seem to be hit the hardest. Bendel 420 is slow. And Bendel does the reset and promotes and still doesn't see consistency, because I don't know if there's any consistency to see right now. Again, I think it has something to do with the end of the quarters. They seem to do stuff at the end of quarters. I mean, which makes it, doing things at the end of the year, at the end of a month, all that stuff makes sense. So it may not be anything, but at the same time, could be something. Tommy Bernard, I'd love to see someone not promote. And yes, yeah, you can't. That's the thing, is that's what these promotions are built for, Tommy. They're built for the high competition categories that you're in. They're not built for anybody else. That's my theory. They're really just built for just the rock star. I mean, Tommy, are you a rock star? I don't know. I don't know you personally, Tommy, but I'm going to say that the people who are doing sneakers and clothing, the high end stuff, possibly the watches. I don't know how competitive that category is really, but if when you're doing that stuff in your items, you know, I don't know what the cost of goods sold is either. That's always a interesting thing when you see $150, because I've made $300,000 in 1 year, but that's not. Did you ever see $300,000 in our bank account? No, we've made $300,000. That's not what goes into the wallet. I mean, not even close. So anyway, I don't know what cost of goods sold are. Our particular situation here, the Fracking the Hoard has zero cost of goods sold in the past 5 years. So with the exception of maybe $1,000 spent last year on sourcing, everything is just Hoard stuff. And we haven't even gotten to, you know, really the Fruit Juicy center. How many licks does it take to get to the center of our Hoard? 1. We need to thank eBay, because if everything was working great, we wouldn't have all those great content creators to listen to. Well, you're welcome. I'm taking that as a compliment, Dark Drifter. And thanks again. If we didn't see, I don't know if we thanked you for the super chat last week. I really appreciate that. And if all of you would like to know how our YouTube career is going, we have made $78 on YouTube since we got monetized, which was, I mean, honestly, I'm just like, wow, $78. Thank you. So when did we get monetized? Like maybe a week, $78 in a week. Most of that was super chat though. I think it's only like $10 from ads. So whatever. I think we are YouTube sensations. Don't you? I mean, I think just making $1 from YouTube is an amazing accomplishment. So congratulations to all you who have done that as well. Jack says, Tommy Bernard, 95.5 in all my listings qualities. Oh, he's at 99.5% plus. There's not a lot of room there, but he's above it. In all the listings, I don't see any helping other things in the conflict. And, you know, I don't know. But there is definitely something to be said with people, 45 collectors. Comic book collectors they're young enough and rabid enough that you're not going to see a big drop off in those during the next 20 years, I don't think. Stamps, I imagine the entire whatever you call that, whatever the philanthropic, whatever stamp collecting is called, that's just going to disappear, right? Except for like 5 old dudes who just trade them back and forth. I don't know. And I think that's something to be said for all of our collectible categories. We have to be on the lookout of that. Philately, that Patricia says. Thank you, Patricia. Philately. Does it have something to do with Philadelphia, or what's the phila? What's the prefix phila mean? I don't know. Okay, wait, I lost my place here. Toys and cards have heavy competition. Yes, they do. Unless, of course, like toys, if you're selling Star Wars figures, heavy competition. But if you're selling 1974 G.I. Joe, like submarine, something from that earlier chunk of G.I. Joe, there's no, I mean, competition, yeah. I put something up for $200. I know it sells for about $160. all I got to do is wait just to get down. I wait to see if I can catch somebody. But if I don't, then I just sell it for the number. So toys and cards, heavy competition, except for seriously vintage stuff, right? Probably. That's what I think. Jack says Biff Boffo and I do show up a lot in my competitors' listings. Thanks for nothing. They may have 1 or 2 Sinatra 78s, for instance. I have 30. Promoted does help in that. But, and Jack, in that situation, that's where I've sort of mentioned that if you want to show up in those modules, you have to promote. And that's the other, impressions. So I think 2% gets you into that. I'm not saying promote just at 2%, but if you want to show up on those modules, you have to promote, and the minimum is 2%. Biff Boffo says, I assume the ZIFs, zero insertion fees, are there to promote deep selection in those categories. Yes. Not sure why they want deep selection in stamps, for instance. Just curious. So maybe it's just too superficial, so that's why they want that deep selection. Jack says, diversification for this entire year because of eBay will make me more in the long run. It's just going to be 366 of 12-hour plus days. That's yes. Well, we kind of all, well, Jack, can you agree that we've all really had a good ride? 24 years. There's been stresses on YouTube. I'm sorry, eBay. There's been stresses along the way, but this has been the biggest stress because no matter what, before 2023, you could do something, get yourself out of the mess, fix the mess. You could just fix it. And now it's like, uh-oh, can't fix messy. Josh says, been farting around with my store. I think I messed it a little bit, messed it up, honestly. Josh, I don't think judging by the first week of crappy sales, don't judge that. I think everyone I've talked to has crappy sales. Not everybody. Sunny Las Vegas said they had great, but I don't know. But I think that the first week for anything sellers, not including clothing or anything / let's look at my Venn diagram again. It's so Venn. Tell me if this means anything to anybody. I don't know why I'm so obsessed with this, but you've got your vintage collectible seller, your clothing reseller, your everything seller. I'm sure there's other categories, but I'm really trying to narrow it down to my audience and myself and my understanding of things. And I think that these are 3 separate entities in the way you go about most of it. And then in the connection parts, we have the similarities. Like I sell clothing, but only vintage clothing and only very little and certain. So that's a little crossover. Vintage collectibles and everything reseller. Well, contemporary collectibles, like I don't sell Funko Pops and stuff, but collectibles, that might be like something similar to everything resellers. They sell new stuff that's collectible. I do not sell new stuff that's collectible. And I learned that lesson from buying a whole bunch of Simpsons stuff when it first came out. Because my friends like, buy this new stuff and then hold it for 20 years. I didn't amount to anything. So I never did that again. I just do vintage. So anyway, the place where we really come together is this place in the center. Listings is similar. We have, how we list on eBay and stuff. Customer service, there's many similarities there. There's many similarities in shipping. But ultimately, in sourcing and how we go about promoting and a lot of other things, it's not so similar. Is that cool? Did I impress the world with that? Did I make the world shine like Mary Tyler Moore or whatever? Cool. Hold on. 0. Josh Gotts is the farty comment. Steve says promoted does help some long tail. Let's say you have a vintage postcard for a high school and someone searches for a yearbook for that school. Your postcard may be shown and sell to them. Yes. And I think so you have such a real, and that's like I don't know if postcards is a saturated category, but it's definitely a big category with lots of items in it. So to sort of wade through that, promotions would help, I would think. I don't know. In my case, there's only so many Marvin Gaye, certain records. It's not Grapevine. It's like a deep cut. There's only so many of them. So if someone's looking for it, do I have destination items? Yeah, I think in some cases. Tommy says, look at the listing quality report to see how many sellers you compete with, because what works in my highly competitive categories isn't necessarily in most others. Yes. And so, and then the categories I'm in, I'm like 45 in some things, in computer manuals, vintage computing items. We're pretty low. And then in like records, we're at 1,000, but there's like 60,000 people. So I still think we're pretty high up in that. So anyway, but it's still like records are such a vast thing. So there's vintage records and new records. I separate, if you're selling brand new records that have just been pressed, I think that's a different market than the vintage records. So you would address it differently. Steve Vash, even though I've had no idea what they wanted to buy I see. So they're sort of just smushing it with something else about that high school. And then they're like, oh, I went to go buy my yearbook from that high school. And then they say a postcard and they go, oh, I'm going to need that too. Now that is the way promotions should work, Steve. I mean, if we could look at eBay and say, are you going to show it to me, to someone who's buying a yearbook to this high school? Are you going to show my postcard there? I would pay for that too. We just need to know what we're actually getting for our money. And I'm very convinced that in Tommy's case, he needs to promote. In my case, I need not to promote. So that's why I'm trying to figure out that Venn diagram, how I can recommend to certain people, how we all of us who are giving out information can recommend to different types of sellers to do different types of things. Because there's most certainly not one size fits all. Nesbitt experience, aloha. It could be the fact that yes, it is. And I hope I don't know. I wonder what the next, maybe in February, we'll hear that a lot of sellers have left. That would be cool. I mean, I don't want good sellers to leave, just bad ones. Because good sellers raise the whole platform. So good sellers stay, bad sellers go. By the way, I'm going to take a poll here and ask if you are a good or bad seller, and then we will tell eBay. Kidding. Couldn't figure out how to put a poll on here. I'm going to eventually, because I'd like to take polls. Should I go big? Indeed. That was my first poll. That's what she said. What? Disgruntled Octopus is in the house. All the way from down under. He has many arms. Tentacles, if you will. Jack says, tell me, Bernard. Didn't I already read that one? I did. Tommy says, the biggest change is the weighting in search results. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Compare medium sold today versus 6 months ago. Way different, but sellers aren't adapting, so get left behind. Yeah, no, I'm not adapting. I refuse to adapt. I refuse to adapt. I mean, I'm adapting. Again, we found the floor. We maintained the floor for the year. And now we're going to add to the floor. And they're going to do more changes this year, I'm sure. But the weighting of the search, doing the nuclear reset is the way we're dealing with it right now. Do I think that within a few years I'll be paying for promoted listings like I was for years before I stopped using it? Yeah, of course. Primo, you're the fastest hour on YouTube. That is your contest flies by the fastest. Really? Is that good? So you can sit here for 2 hours, but it was really only 1 hour out of your day. Yes. I travel through time. And there's Patricia's comment. Phil lately. Phil lately? All of a sudden that has a whole different, if you spell it differently, it means something different. Tommy, then you see them running half off or more sales, and miraculously eBay works again. Yeah. I mean, I think I don't know if I've ever seen. I mean, I've seen people promoting at ridiculous levels. Philately. Thank you. Philately. And it was one of my first things I got into. I still have my like grade school with the Statue of Liberty on the front, like United States stamp book. I have never gotten rid of it. I'm like, I just gonna throw that in the garbage, but I don't because I like it. Outdoor Worlds is here. Aloha, Outdoor Worlds. Giving us the what do you call that? When my brain goes so bad. The etymology of the word. The word, and I'm looking up to Patricia's phonetically spelled. Philately. Philately is English translation of the French philately, coined by George Herpes in 1864. Herpes took the Greek root word of philo, meaning an attraction or affinity to something, and atelele, meaning exempt from duties and taxes, to form the neologism philatele. I love words. I was an English major, although I never graduated from college, but I tried a few times. But English was my thing, and it was supposed to lead to possibly law or something else, but it led to eBay. Imagine that. Jeff says, thanks for keeping me company while I work on this eBay stuff. You are welcome, Jeff. Welcome to the party. Biff Boffo, I think people make a big deal out of server space, but I don't think it's a factor anymore. So why not have deep selection for your buyer? Yes. And no, server space is very free. And that's why also I don't think while they can shut down servers, specifically geolocated servers, because eBay is not located in one place. It's located in different places, but it's not, I'm not necessarily, I'm going to be in a local server, sure, but there's West Coast eBay is stored on the East Coast because it has to be squished around so it's can be lost. So all of eBay is squirted all over the place. But I don't think you necessarily, unless they're changing the entire app, I don't think you have server downtime and you don't have servers that are full. You can have a bad server, but I don't think anymore. It's really just not how things work anymore because of server farms and stuff. But anyway. Jack says, Primo, it's been a great and then decent up until late March 2023. I fear for eBay's long term because of what they're doing to kill sellers, and they won't be people to replace them. Well, right now, I guess we've got quite a few sellers we can call still, and we'll see where we all end up at the end. Aloha, Woody's Comic Chest. Hello. I don't think I've seen your name before. Welcome. Hello, all. What's your take on the economy and online resellers in 2024? I believe it's going to get harder before it gets easier. I completely agree with you, Woody. You are on point with that. None of us know anything. That's point one. Point B is it's going to get harder before it gets easier because there's still we're writing it. I actually wanted to talk about hacking eBay. That's what we're doing right now. That's what Josh Galt, that's what James, my boring reseller, that's what we're doing right now is hacking because they're not giving us any information. We're trying to figure out how to affect various realities. We want to get things sold, but we also want to get things sold in a certain way at certain times, certain expectations, and we're figuring out how to do that. And thanks to some great YouTubers, we are able to do that. And I'm just trying to add my 2 cents to it. Coming from, I am a serial entrepreneur, but I don't think a good one, just a serial one. I just wanted to stay out of the workforce for my whole entire life. After I left it, I just didn't like it, and that wasn't my thing. My last big business venture where I hired people was a restaurant in 2005, and we had 37 people on staff or something. And that basically made me gag on ever doing anything similar again. And then I had a retail store of mid-century modern furniture, like a 10,000, 5, 10. How big was that place? How big was the warehouse store place? 55,000 square feet. No, it was 100 by 25. 2,500? That sounds like 2,500, right? What's 50 feet by 50 feet? 2,500 also? Let's go with 2,500. So I've had a couple 2,500 square foot warehouses. One was all arcade games and pinball machines, and one was mid-century modern furniture. Had some high-end cars, Mercedes, Rolls-Royce, vintage, all vintage stuff. That was better, but overhead also made me never want to do that again. So, and I was about Josh's age when I was like, okay, I'm going to go take over the world. I'm at full force. I'm going to take over everything. And I ended up spending more money than I made, but I had, a good time. And then I even went out and tried to do TV stuff in Hollywood in 2014. Then when I got back from that, I was like, nope, just going to eat myself to death. I was like, that's the end of it. When I got back from doing that, I was like, nope, I just got to just be normal. So I helped a friend start a business, basically a printing business, but a bigger art design house kind of business. Did that for 2 years. And then in 2019, I said, I'm going to frack this hoard. And then you know what happened in 2020. She lost her job, and then we've been working together ever since, trying to make it work. And we've been doing a good job until this year where they made us all sad. eBay. That's who made us sad. Oh, my goodness. Josh is confirming the 80% down this January versus last January, and 85 this week versus last week. I know. It's so bad. I mean, it's really disheartening, but at the same time, Josh, I don't really think it was anything you did. And ending so similar does not hurt your store, at least from my understanding of doing it I haven't just been doing it for this quarter. I've been doing it since the bad times happened. Before that, I ended and sold similar every month, but I started doing it every fourth day. That I also figured out that sort of rhythm back in June when the problem started. And as far as I can tell, and I did promote and do the every 4-day reset, that seemed to keep my sales were pretty low at that point. It wasn't until I really just did the everyday nuclear reset, no promotion, that I regained a floor. And I can't necessarily tell you why, but I did show earlier in this here thingamabob that if you look at just the page views from 2022 December, take any date. Let's do December 13th. 302. This is promoting. This is 6.5%. This is doing it right. This is no nuclear reset. This is just go. 302 on December 3rd. This year December 13th. This year I got 527 doing the nuclear reset, no promotion. So with promotion, I had half the page views. Tommy's right. Only what ends up in your wallet matters. So you got that going for you. And the other thing did I even point this out, that if you can see this part right here, December 29th, I did not do a nuclear reset. January 4th and January 4th and January 6th, I didn't do a nuclear reset. Why? Because I didn't want to or forgot or something. But interestingly, look at the sales on those 2 days. January 4th, I did not do a nuclear reset, 0 sale day. Then on January 5th, I did a nuclear reset, sold a few items. January 6th, I did not do a nuclear reset, nothing sold. Interesting, right? That's the beginning of the month. So you can see that's probably hidden behind my head, right? I'm guessing. Here are the sales from the beginning of the year. So you can see, is that just one sale on the first, one sale on the second, 0 on, I got those dates wrong. Wait. 2 sales on the second, 2 sales on the first, 1 sale on the second, 1 sale on the 3rd, 0 on the 4th, and I didn't do a reset. 3 on the 5th, I did do a reset. 0 on the 6th, I did not do a reset. That's anecdotal, but it seems to look like something. You can definitely see on days I did not do the reset. On 3 days at the end of the year, you got lower page views, which you would expect. And then how did those translate to sales? One of the low days, I had fine sales. I had 5 items sell. And the other 2, 0. So, whatevs. Big. So, blah. I feel like I talk and say that, and it seems so obvious to me how great it is and how apparent everything is. And then I look at it more and I'm like, ugh, I'm just disgusted with it all. Biff Baffa likes my. I did, though. I chose those. Those are my own colors, too. Thank you. Appreciate that. Let's see. And Jack is just reaffirming that, Josh, it's not you. It isn't. I mean, it just isn't. Woody says my sales are actually coming up this year already. Okay. Woody, could I assume that you sell comic books? May I assume that? Made for some major changes in both my stores, and it seems to be helping so far. Fingers crossed. And if you are selling just comics, are there a certain type of comics? Did I finish my whole story about how we list what we've been doing this year when we list is listing collections. So 45s, we spent, we listed thousands of them because they all came from one place. The 8-track tapes that we had piling up for years, a big bulk of them came from one place. And then I listed, so maybe we have 4 boxes of 8-tracks. And when I went through them, I just listed 1 box. The other 3 boxes, no one's ever going to buy Dan Fogelberg on 8-track because he's okay. There's nothing wrong with them, but he's probably better on a cassette. You don't need to drive your Camaro. There's certain music that doesn't need to go in your Camaro, in your 8-track player. So you have to list things based on that. And then those other 3 boxes, I just never bothered listing. And those are from 25 years of sourcing. And they will never be listed. Especially after I heard Josh Galt this year saying, I listed all these 8-tracks and they're never going to sell. And I was like, well, you probably listed bad ones. And I just never did do that. And I'm not going to. I may have if I hadn't heard Josh and other people say, don't do that. Okay, where is he? Let me see. I can't even get to him. Okay, so Miss Merritt, aloha. I hope you're having a great day, and I wish that was legit. I wish that was in my account. So many words. Biff. Okay, I had you had the Statue of Liberty. Wait, Moronic Pest is here. Wait, there's other people. I want to say hi to everybody. But Tommy is saying, I'm at the scale of a solo person. Holy cow. Where am I? I'm at the scale for a solo person until I want to expand and hire another solo person. Is that what ASP is? Is the only way for me to grow. ASP is average sold price. And Tommy, from last year to this year's, ours dropped from 107 to 48 average sold price. And that's because we didn't sell the high-end computer things. ASP, I finished up around 9% on eBay, but added Poshmark and also sold $60K on Poshmark. No snap. See, I think it's so easy. I'm going to say it's easy. That's rude. It would be so great if I could just do clothing. Because I feel like I would go out there and source like a maniac and only bring home the good stuff. Jack is saying he's on Discogs for LPs and 45s. And which is something I think we're going to take on. We haven't listed any LPs yet, just 45s. And the 45s are going great on eBay. I don't have any problem with that. But with, I think, the records and with the vintage records, we would cross list or do something or list them on Discogs as well. And isn't it actually Disc OGs? Is that what Discogs actually is? Because I'm like, what is a cog? It's a Disc OG, but it looks like Discogs. Woody says different items, more in demand, higher price things to raise my SP as well. Okay, 5% promotions across the board. Gross net sales are running about 58 to 59%. Well, that's excellent. Tommy says, well, that's why the search is all over right now, because eBay implemented buyer learning to show items that will most likely click on based on history, like YouTube, Google, and Facebook, yes, and Amazon, of course. Tommy also says, until the search AI has had enough information, it's going to be weird. And Tommy, I'm a believer that, this is not, whether or not it is a neural network or not, that people have a much more effect on the AI learning than AI just learning itself. I mean, people have to actually train it, as opposed to, it's not actually a sentient search engine. Moronic Pest. Do we say hi to Moronic Pest yet? No. My collectible sales are down these last 9 days of this year, but I don't worry about 9 days. I look at things month to month. Yeah, absolutely, for sure. You have to do that. And if you're saying 9 days of this year, if you mean the first 8 days of this year, it's just been down. So for everybody, selling everything, except for some clothing sellers, because, again, those are things that everybody needs every day for every second of every day, except for when they're naked. And nothing else do we need that much or that often. Jax does not believe in promoting the heavy LP market on eBay. Does much good due to way too many sellers there. Yeah, I mean, the crowded categories. But if you have the good stuff that people want, of course, and then all you're trying to do is break through that. But if you already have the stuff that people really want, you don't need to promote at all, because people are looking for it. Are you a destination item? I think that's another, I'm going to put that word down here, destination item. And I think Tommy would also say, right? Because if you're selling clothing and somebody wants a specific model of shoe, they want that shoe, you don't need to promote it. If it's like a Air Jordan Mark 1 model, something like that, I guess. What did I just say I was going to write down? I forgot it already. Destination item. Just meaning that everybody goes on, I need to have a Apple Macintosh 1 computer. You probably don't. You're not going to need to advertise that as much unless there was 100 of them on there, which there's not. Oh, let's see. Good Karma Antique. Stamps with high sell-through rate would be great. Sold comps look good. Think of the ease of shipping and listing. I know, seriously. Both easy peasy and free. 10,000 listings, but also depending on finding a good source. And I think also, stamps is one of those things highly dependent on condition. Highly, like insane condition dependence. Moronic Pest still catching up from the last year's paperwork spreadsheet, so not even listing now. Yeah, we didn't list. So that 2,000 item store, the entire second half of the year and all the way through the nuclear reset that we did, we only replenished the store to just above 2,000 with like items to kind of trying to keep it, so that we would get some real numbers out of it. Biff did have the Statue of Liberty stamp album. Steve's number 3 in his category, but probably because of laziness, it's the other category, something like collectible pins or something. Some of those should be a more specific category. There are some weird combinations. Outdoor Worlds, aloha guys. I'm around just in silent mode. Biff Boffo says, and Biff, did you grow up in the Bay Area too? I can't remember if you grew up in the Bay Area, but so many English majors in the Bay Area. What do you do with an English major? Teach? No. We wanted to write stuff, maybe go into advertising, or I was really going to be a lawyer. That's what I wanted. And then I realized you had to read a lot and sit inside and not do stuff. And I was like, oh, okay, bye. History major for undergrad. History is good too. I mean, isn't history like one of the best things? If more people knew history right now in this era, that'd be good. Not the new history, the real one that we learned a long time ago. If you remember back with final value fees on shipping and such, anytime eBay figures out how sellers are circumventing their bottom line, it's gone. So end and relist will be changed soon. I agree. 100% Tommy. I'm expecting the end and sell similar shoe to drop. But as of right now, it still exists. And also, it's existed for a really long time. And I think I was hearing you talk last night on John Flippin' Ain't Easy, and you were talking about how you relist as opposed to end and sell similar. I have my reasons for ending and selling similar, and I think your reasons for relisting are equally as valid. And I think that, again, is another reason to distinguish between types of sellers on eBay so that we may have to follow different plans. And that was one of the reasons that brought me to that. Because I'm like, why would you relist? Because I only end and sell similar. Here's the reasons why I do that. But you said other reasons that suit you. And I think that's another reason why we really have to, one size does not fit all anymore on eBay. That's for sure. Biff Boffo, I have read that the listings are on all servers. I believe there are 4 farms. Yeah, for sure. If one explodes, there's 3 more. And then you go around the world. I don't know. There's probably a lot more. Jack says Jack was a Russian English major. I'm a professional writer, but I use it more in personal marketing as well as marketing for artists and stuff. Cool. That's awesome. Tommy says, he's talking to Jack. How long has it been? Okay. So after I get to an hour, I have no idea even what I'm reading half the time. Jack, if the buyer clicks, sure, it will keep happening, but the waiting now is so huge on listed versus median sold. Okay. That's interesting. Nesbitt said, I got a degree in psych thinking I'd be a dance therapist. The cost of school would have been greater than the salary. Yes. Luckily, I did go to school when I wasted all my mom's money on schooling, except for high school. High school was expensive, but I went to UCSB and I went to some community colleges. And back at that time, going to University of California, Santa Barbara was like $1,500 a year, plus books, I think, were like another $500. So you could go in the 80s, you could go to college, a good college, for $2,000. Now I believe in-state tuition is, $20,000. So the whole world exploded in between, 30 years ago and now. Hey, by the way, did you guys realize stuff changed in the last 30 years? Tommy says lower price will always win. Yes. Tommy, one of our theories back before we started fracking the hoard, like for my entire eBay system online, is I bought stuff for always super cheap. And so when I'd put it up, I would go for my target price was 80% of everyone else's price. So I never had a problem selling Eames, chairs, vintage computers, all those things. They would just, I will also say that I also wanted money faster. I was more interested in getting paid right now, especially back when PayPal was our thing. So the second I sold something, that money was in my account, my hot little hands. I could go spend it on stuff I don't need, possibly did need. But the PayPal years that's where I bought a ton of stuff. So I would sell stuff on eBay and then buy collectibles, much of which I'm selling now. I still has appreciated, of course, 50-fold in some cases. Let's see what lower prices will always win. Yes, I see sellers with 97% feedback in the top spot because they are selling $20 cheaper. Yes, absolutely. Top result out of hundreds or thousands results, not 10 or 20. Yes. Yep, and that's how I used to do it too. But in the case now that I'm not selling high end items, I'm selling these lower long tail items, and I'm asking full price for them too. And I'm getting it, but I do have to do it this certain way. And without using promoted listings, I have to use the nuclear reset, which is going to come to a screeching halt at some point. I guarantee it has to. It has to. But they have had those buttons up there for many years, so I don't know how they'll get rid of them. But we'll have to see. Jack says, from what he's seen of Josh's store, he should randomly have sales. I just wonder what eBay has done to cause so much grief. They broke the. Well, we know they've broke it from our point of view, and they fixed it in their point of view, but we don't know what that means necessarily. I don't know why they just want to be Walmart. I don't know why they would. I mean, except for the CEO is from Walmart. Why would they want to be Walmart when they're eBay? That's what I say. And everyone has seen that the one advertisement that's saying Etsy isn't your only place to get vintage items. I don't even know where I saw that anymore. I tried to go find that to show one example of eBay being proactive, and I couldn't find it anymore. Woody is saying to Tommy, I definitely agree with you on the eBay favoring high-priced items. Was just telling my wife to watch that. I've noticed this myself in all my stores. Well, they do, yeah, because they would make more money if they did that. And most certainly they would make a lot of money if they just sold low-priced good items without complication. Nesbert is saying, very cool. Psych professor told me to go back to dance teaching because I was a better teacher than the student, apparently. She gave me $1,000 and I opened a dance school. Really? But you don't do that anymore. The dance school. I mean, isn't dance fun? I mean, if you can get into it, if you can get into anything that, you get more in touch with yourself, is good. And dance does. Although I'm not a dancer, but I'm just saying, touch myself. If you dance, you can touch yourself more. Tommy Bernard says Josh needs to dive into seller metrics. I think his shipping company is destroying him. Well, if Josh is in jeopardy, we need to drive up to Buffalo with an iron pipe and take it to his shipping company. Well, I hope not. I know those Canadian buyers right on the border, there's an extra complication with getting your product either from the Canadian side to our side or get it into the U.S. postage system or whatever. So he does experience, I think, probably increased expense because of that. And if you're saying Josh, I mean, I assume Josh does dive into his metrics, but, I don't know. Because I haven't really looked at his store a lot, so I guess I would have to really know. But I just liked listening to him, and I think that he's doing, what he should be doing. I mean, he's certainly attentive. Maybe he tries new things too quickly. I don't know. That's totally unfair. If what he's trying to do right now, I think, is a great thing. He's trying to get to that point where, like you said, Tommy, you've reached the point of solo, max out your solo. The only way to get bigger is to for you, ASP. But if you were to hire another person to increase your staff, you would need to have an inventory system that staff could read. So I think that's what Josh is focusing on right now. And then we'll work on some of these. I forgot what I said. It wasn't important, though, so don't worry. Because I got stuck reading one of the messages where Biff says, I think eBay likes people who sell sim. It shows you care. I hope so. I wish they'd send me like a chocolate or something indicative of them caring about me. Outdoor Wheels, Primo, 2 types of stores people should focus on no matter what you are selling. Big stores, 30,000 items where you must promote, and the small stores of 250, no promoting rare items to sell fast. Yes. So that's our original plan, was the 350 about items, and they were all high sell-through rate items. Now we're at a 2,000 low sell-through rate items, but still items I'm going to call good. They're just highly collectible items that people want, but they're slow sell-through rates. So I want to build the base out of that, which is 2,000, which, just for lack of a better number, just say that will get us $5,000 a month floor. It fluctuates. It's gone higher. It's gone lower. In June, it was $10,000. Now it's $5,000. So I call that half of our income leaving. And what we want to do is just take that floor and double it with the exact like items to get up to a $10,000 floor. Then add in the computer stuff that we always used to do that would give us the cream of $2,000 to $3,000 a month. I mean, that's just I think that's probably been the clearest I've been about our income, but it's just so sad and depressing that we were basically like Mr. and Mrs. Roper back in June. We were just walking around our property having some margaritas. She was in her Afghan, and then June happened, and now we're like digging ditches in the hot sun in the middle of the desert. So I want that back. That's what I want. So we have been working on that, and that's our plan to work on it. Plus the $78 from YouTube. Thank you so much, everybody. Appreciate that. Woody says, I've managed to sell every day out of the last 15 except for one, and I've tried your nuclear reset, and it definitely does drive traffic for sure. Nope, there's no doubt. I can show the numbers all day long. But, between what Outdoor Worlds you just said, there's 3 size stores. I'd like to just add that intermediate level of store, somewhere over 2,000, because 2,000 is the sweet spot if you're selling in those zero insertion fees, that I can use almost all 60,000 impressions, 10,000 from my store, 50,000 from the zero insertion fees. In those, if you have those zero insertion fees. So about 2,000, well, that makes sense, right? 2,000, I've got 60,000 items, so I can do them every day for 30 days. The second I get out of that 2,000 item store and I go up to 4,000, I'm only going to be able to do the nuclear reset every other day. That is the plan. You know what? 6x6, I just made it down to your comment with Miss Merritt in the house. She's looking for an aloha and a cha-ching. I'm going to do it again. Aloha, Miss Merritt. You're going to get a horn. Another aloha. Aloha. And a cha-ching. Thank you. And we activated Pokey. You see his little head popped up back there it's like the little turkey thing, and the turkey's like, it just pops up. You should show numbers, items sold year versus year, ASP year versus year. Looking at anything other than sales is really a waste of time. There's no correlation between traffic and sales ever. Okay. Let's see, Tommy. I think I prepped for that, sort of. Did I? That's traffic. And this is sales. ASP, no, it's all messed up. Okay, well, I'll do that next time for you, Tommy. Sure, I'll show them to you. I don't care. But last year, I have last year's with 104 average sales price per item. And then my selling costs were 19.1% of my gross, which doesn't sound gross at all. So anyway, I'll set that up because I have to set it up ahead. I get so confused when I try to go pull stuff up while I'm talking. I hope she's a double giggle box now. Thank you, 6x6. Yeah, okay, yeah, I'll do that. Okay, Josh is saying, Tommy Bernard, podcast returns are 0.73 items shipped on time, 99.6. Transaction defects, 0. Cases closed without 0. Late shipment rate, 0. I know, if we could just... I feel like I could do enough talking, but would it have any value would be the question. And probably not. Hey, Fro Cells is in the house. Aloha. Comic sells, but they are long tail, yeah. And so, obviously, if you had a lot of comics, and in Hey Froze, I wonder what he would say about my Venn diagram, because his crossover might be vintage comics, superhero comics sell in a different way than new comics, but they're still comics. Biff Boffo discography, not sure what that refers to. Josh called 20. Josh continuing his hysteria. With 99.9% feedback, 42 items sold last year, free return 60 days. Jack says, the things I list on Discogs are the ones where price is over $50. Yeah, okay, cool. Flippin' Annie, John is here. Aloha, John. Sorry, I'm not, again, not up to date with the comments. I hope nothing bad is happening down the comments area. Do not do anything bad, anybody, please. Thank you. What's going? It's good. Good. Okay. She's monitoring. What's going on, Primo? Just listening while working. Hope you and Spam are well. We are doing great. We are talking about the Kaka first week of the year and what we're gonna do coming up and what we all should do, and how I wonder what John thinks, because John is an anything flipper, and I think he's one of the people that I watch and I say, well, there's definitely a difference between his style of selling and ours, being in the collectible category and him being an anything seller and then the clothing sellers. So I really think there's a different ways to address selling. John, if you're still here, check this out. I got this thing. I just want to show it to you because I'm so proud of my amazing Venn diagram here. So this is what I'm starting. And the purpose of this, the reason why I want to do this at all, it's just so that if I'm giving out advice or if I'm telling people how I feel about something, I can make it very clear that I'm a vintage collectible seller and things may be different if I was an everything seller or a clothing reseller, especially when it comes to promoted listings. Where we do crossover is in the actual listing process, customer service, shipping. But then everything else is a little different, especially sourcing. Vintage collectibles isn't a daily, or it's not a sort of a routine. You don't source vintage collectibles the same way you do new items or, items that you can get on the spot. So now I'll go back there. That's my Venn diagram. I did it myself. So Woody's saying, Primo Kimo, I'm actually liquidating all comments. I'm currently inventorying around 18,000 or more. Been moving towards selling all items due to the fact that comic book sales have slowed down so much. Yeah. Comic book sales have slowed down, certain record sales. I mean, there's definitely, when you're in the collectibles category, keep your eye on your customer and make sure they're not dying. That's like super important, especially... Bridget, did you realize I'm 54 years old? I'm going to die someday. Not yet. Is it beautiful? You guys, that's why I left this window open. It was so you could see that Christmas finally came to beautiful Burlington, Vermont. And right now, not sure you can totally see, I can't see in the tiny picture, but there is a gentle little flurries happening right now. So calming, so lovely. I was going to play a song, but I don't have that on here. Oh, wait, here. That's how beautiful the snow is. Okay, what else? I mean, we're getting close to an hour and a half here, but I'll keep reading. Let's see. I'll liquidate my records one day, 30 years collecting. Yeah, you guys, that's the one big thing. Here, gonna strike on another point right here. One big thing about being in the collectibles, being on that Venn diagram as a collectible seller, you really do need to be aware of when does this stuff expire. Comic books aren't expiring. Certain, records aren't necessarily expiring, but certain ones are. I mean, not everybody's going to be buying doo-wop. Doo-wop, people that like doo-wop are either new DJs, somebody younger, or they're about ready to not be on the planet anymore. But there are still people buying. It's just never going to go up. It's always going to be a slope downwards. So that's really important. I don't think any of us are, necessarily in that, but stamps is one. There's no way to, I do know people who have sold stamps, but their whole life is being a philophylactic. And I don't want to be a philophylactic, so I just made up that word. I don't think that's accurate. Don't use that word. TM. I just invented it. Clothing sales are around 35%. This is Woody's comic book chest. Woody's comic chest, which you would think would all be comics, but no, 35% clothing. One of the major changes implemented this year. You don't see, if you can do clothing right, it doesn't seem like you're gonna, you seem to be insulated a little bit from some of the annoyances of the past year. But again, you have to know clothing, and it seems to be like a pretty intensive knowledge base. Although if you buy nice clothing and you know name brands, it probably isn't that hard, to be honest. Nesbitt said, it's not for the faint of heart. I danced Broadway and made $4 a day. That's about what I make on YouTube and eBay, actually. That's why I'm on eBay seller these days. Plus, you age out of dance quick. Yes. My cousin, Amy, I don't know where you danced. My cousin, his name was Craig Innes, Innes, and he danced on Broadway. And he was a choreographer. He was in 42nd Street, Legs Diamond. He was actually the choreographer of Legs Diamond. He did 42nd Street. What's the one that became a TV show, and he was on that too? The Fame. Yeah, Fame, Broadway, and TV. A couple other things. He died in the early 90s of AIDS, which is sad, but I did get to see him in all of his glory on Broadway and in his dance recital areas and everything. It was pretty remarkable. Lodi. Biff Boffo grew up in Lodi. I was in the 89 earthquake. I was too. I was in San Jose at Valco Fashion Mall in the elevated section, and all the lights and windows popped out, and it was, I could tell you, there's a long story there. That's a talk story, but we were there getting a Nintendo, and I won't tell the whole story, but we were in the mall, and the mall is elevated, so it was a 2-story mall, and there's part of the mall that goes over a big road, a Saratoga Sunnyvale Road, so it's about 6-lane road. So, but you don't know you're going over the road, so it's an enclosed tunnel, and the tunnel has stores in it, so you don't even know. And during the earthquake, we were in this part, and all of a sudden, just 2 windows just popped out. Each huge storefront windows just popped out. And these giant lights fell out of the ceilings, but they were connected by the wire, so they didn't fall to the floor. My friend and I are looking there. We just both look at each other, and we grab each other like by the hand. So now we're like 6-year-olds, and we ran to the closest exit of the mall, which happened to be under a huge stained glass window on the ceiling. So we stood there. And all of a sudden, another aftershock happened. We weren't under the glass. And we were both just on the ground. Like, we didn't fall. I don't remember falling. I don't remember. It was just the earth was here, and then it was over here, and we were just on the ground. And then we had to get out, and we had to move all this sort of decoration so people could get out of the parking garage. Then we went over to the Pepper Tree, I think, and they were just giving away free food. Then we went over to the liquor store, and all the liquor had fallen down, and it was actually pouring out of the threshold of the liquor store. So we left there so it wouldn't explode. Anyway, thanks for asking. I danced with Amy said she danced with 3 companies. I mean, that's, yes. Anything acting on Broadway, New York City, they just beat you down. Tommy says, look at the future tab, Josh, see if any different than current. Woody says, I just sold my items to Guam and Malaysia recently. Really? I'm on eBay International Shipping, and we used to do a ton of it. It's all but dried up. Maybe a couple items a month, but back in even when it was first released, we were selling dozens of items a month. But maybe they removed us from it. I don't know what happened, but no more. UCLA was like $2,000 per quarter for me. I'm not sure when that was, Biff Boffo. I was UCSB in 89, I think. Tommy Bernard says, I relist because watchers get... Oh, wow, this is so far back. Isn't it? My goodness. He relists as opposed to end and sell similar because watchers get notified of the relist in lower price. Okay. So they get that notification. Now, because I'm ending, I ruin a couple of different things by ending and selling similar every single day. Definitely. That might be one of them. I don't know. I think that it ruins a couple of things anyway. But I don't care. Who? What? Woody. Oh, Woody. Aloha. Thank you so much. Mahalos. I appreciate that. $10. Thank you. We will definitely if we ever make it to Oklahoma. We don't make it out. We haven't made it out too much lately. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Very generous. Jay, what's Jack talking about? Something about a 5'10" blonde. I should read that, but I'm not going to because I want to say hello to everybody else. Ken Hamilton, aloha. What up, everybody? Got here. Some people have to work for a living. I know. I mean, I think as an eBay seller, it's fair to say we work. I don't know if we all make a living at it. Aretha Franklin, aloha, was a dancer too, but as a different kind of dancer. Were you actually a topless dancer? I wouldn't say that was bad. If you were making that bank, if you're bringing home the bacon, frying it up in a pan, I was a topless dancer too, just for her. Don't show them the pictures. Let's see. Bendel, ready for another snowstorm chemo? Yes, it's going to, but we already went to the store, so we're doing great. George Jaha says it isn't just traffic. Sales since December 26th up 30%. ASP up 10.8. Quantity sold up 17.6. Last year numbers were with promoted. Yeah, that's what I was. Again, I don't know if you saw that at the beginning. That's what I started the show with, was your numbers and then matching mine up to that. So we have more sales, more ASPs higher, everything without promoted numbers. George Aha, please forgive me, but what type of items are you selling? Do you know? Do you remember? Yeah, let me just know what type of items you're selling so I can know. About 9 inches of snow coming up this way. That's right. Josh Galt says, my future tab is the same, except the 99.66 number goes up to 99.84. Amy closed the school when she went to NYC. So it must have been in California, I'm guessing. Woody's comic chest. My wife just moved a $3 vintage Santa Claus yard ornament for $180 to ship to Montana. Was it it was a blow mold, I'm guessing. A vintage blow mold, Woody. Woody's comic chest, her sale of the week. That's awesome. Wow. Woody, I'm just getting down to your $10. I'm so sorry. I can't read any faster than this, but, whatever. Biff Boffo, Primo, you're not to be morbid, but do you plan to die with your collectibles? I love my stuff, but I'd rather cash out. That's the whole point. That's fracking the hoard. We have so much stuff. This is good stuff that, yes, when I was buying the stuff over the past 25 years, I'm like, when I get the cancer, I want to be able to walk around my house and play with all my toys that I always want. I don't want to have to be sick, then go on eBay and buy them all. I want to have them all ahead of time. And then I realized that life just lasts a lot longer than that. And I don't have enough room or want to pay for enough storage for it all. Plus, if I can't see it, if I'm not using it, if it's not bringing me joy, what's the lady that says it doesn't bring you joy, throw it away. Well, I can have about 2 million pieces of stuff bring me joy, but 3 million, you're crossing a bridge. It's a bridge too far. You're crossing a bridge too far. Now burn it. Burn that bridge. Let it go. Yes, we let it go. We're letting it all go. It all goes. I have a tiny well, it's not tiny, but I have 3 shelves that I'm pointing at right now up there that have all my little stuff. I literally have my Darth Vader from originally 1977 Darth Vader, a couple other things. All my stuff that I still own from being a kid that I liked, that I kept. And I have my first grade lunchbox up there. Peanuts. I still have it. Thanks to my mom for keeping it. Thanks for me for loving it. Jack says records you can expect to see are from 50s through 70s now. Looking at a pic from sales can give you an idea of the age of the person whose estate it was from. Yeah, for sure. And that in the next 10 years, you're going to see a huge classic rock collections coming up. Yep, absolutely. I mean, that 45 collection that we're selling this year is from a famous DJ he started as I think he was 78. He started doo-wop. But WAPP was his main, where everyone knew him for starting Bon Jovi. So he was a professional DJ in the 80s, but he was one in the 50s. So anyway, wait, 78. How much does that make you? So if he was in the 50s, 70, yeah, that's about. No, he would have been born in 1950. If he was 78, no, if he's 73. Yeah, don't let me do math. Don't let me do your taxes. I'll share my Quake stories during the happy hour. I have been in 3 major ones. Right on. We'll hear that on Friday. Awesome. Rocky Top Pickers of the house. Aloha. I'm sorry it's taking me so long to get down to the list, but that's the way it goes. He says hello all. I wish there was time things on here. Maybe that would keep me going faster. Timestamps. Primo, yes, the Santa was a blow mold. Yeah. That sounds like it. And then we sold a little skeleton, little 13-inch skeleton for like $90 at Halloween. Yeah, they are pricey. Everybody loves the good blow mold. Nesbitt Experience says, Primo, I'm from Connecticut. That's where you taught and performed. I performed in Burlington, Vermont, a little theater there. That's all we have is little theaters here. And at certain points we have different ones. But right now, there's a lot of dance is gone. So we have one major theater and a couple of black boxes. But we got hit. George Jaha, okay, coming in with top categories last year. Toys, books, collectibles, toys, books, collectibles, figurines, and village houses. Okay, you did tell me that because I remember. And my aunt, when she passed away, we just ended up getting all of her Dickens Village stuff. And I cursed it, but boy, it all sold pretty, I was just like, I want to get rid of it. I didn't have any expectations on it. And I was pleasantly surprised. We still have like one little mailbox left for some reason. But all of it sold in one quarter, 2022. Also selling dolls, hand tools, ornaments, DVDs, cameras, mugs, flatware. All good stuff. Golf clubs. Yeah, I never got into golf clubs. I never got into or hand tools, which is something we have a lot of up here in Vermont. Lots of vintage hand tools and golf clubs. Rocky Talk Picker. I'm the old guy on here, I'm sure. And Nesbitt says it was a black box. Yeah, so I think the only ones we have now are like the city made one downtown, down at the waterfront, which is really nice. And then maybe there's one in the old North End now, but that's for more of like the burlesque stuff. So now I think we have our main stage and one black box that I can think of. Rocky Top, Comic Chest. Oh yeah, maybe so. I know we're all old now. I mean, it's so funny. I definitely don't feel old, but my body is. It hurts. Can I tell you all the parts that hurt today? Where to start? My hat hurt when I woke up today. Okay, so it's been 1 hour and 44 minutes. I feel like I hit all the chats. Anybody have anything they would like to ask? I really appreciate you guys all staying here. I really like talking through today's subject because I really feel like in this collectible category, all it does is show that that promoting was not good. That you certainly don't get anything from it in page views or impressions. It didn't add to the bottom line, and So I'm going to move forward with sort of fleshing out my Venn diagram so that if someone was to be able to give proper information to somebody, it's a good idea to know where you're starting from. And if you're mixing collectibles with, obviously can't do everything, but maybe if a collectible seller knows specifically that they don't need to promote, maybe that's just a good thing to sort of flesh out. And also knowing that everything seller must promote, also another good thing to flesh out. And I think that this year is the year of, last year was the nuclear reset. We didn't know it was going to happen. Nuke it. Just nuke it. Do whatever you can. Just throw everything, kitchen sink, right at it, see what happens. Now, the smart reset is the next phase where maybe we don't reset every item. Maybe we promote some items, don't promote others, just really dialing it in, trying to dial it in from a point of like a grouping, so that we can say that, if you are an anything seller, this group of activities might help you more than it helps a clothing reseller or a vintage collectibles reseller. Anyway. Last of the comments. Woody is saying, wife wants me to start a YouTube channel. Should I? Why not? Woody, if you got something to say. I was just pushed out of shape and I started one in October. I'm like, well, we've done one for a year, played with YouTube, but just for our friends and family. And then one day I felt like I had something to say about eBay, and that was just in October. And yeah, I think this, our niche of eBay resellers, more voices, the better at this point. We are not flooded with people with good ideas. We might be flooded with people who are, and which is nothing wrong with that, because that's a different type of programming, but with people with bolos and what they sold and what they bought and everything. But for people discussing how to make eBay better for them, no, more voices, the better on that one. That's for sure. I appreciate more voices, the better. Jack says, if promoted doesn't give us back what they took, then it's a fail for both of us, and eBay are losing a ton of money because of it. Now, Jack, did I prove something weird just now? Let me look at this. So let's look at this is 2022. And we're looking at, what did I want to prove? I almost forgot what I was going to talk about. Total page views, but my organic impressions are 110 on December 1st. Let's go here. This is this year. On December 1st, my total page views are 683, almost triple. And my total impressions are 183,776. In 2022, yeah, so they're up. My total page views are up. My quantity sold was 1 in 2022 and 0 in 2023. So that doesn't necessarily sell anything. I was thinking I was going to prove right then that they raised our impressions to then lower them, but I'm not proving that. So don't listen to me. Erase. Let me look into that again. I'm at the comments. Should I go big? Okay, I'm big. No, but Jack, to insert this new rigmarole promoted listings, yes, they've been rolling it out for several years, but to make it happen, they had to take away our natural organic stuff to then charge us for it. It's the only way around it. I have a YouTube, but it's not a reseller one. YouTube is really fun. I enjoy it. I mean, I get to just come in here and talk on the radio. I like the radio. I like to talk. So it works out. And now, thanks to Woody's Comic Chest, we are at $87 that we've made on YouTube. That's our entire YouTube career. Almost $100. At $100, we can actually take the money out. You have to get up to $100 to get the money out of YouTube. So we're getting close to that. That's our next milestone. Rocky Top Pick. I use my channel to vent. Yes. Well, I mean, the channel, YouTube selling there's a lot of new YouTube sellers out there. So it's important for people to have beginning kind of knowledge. And then I think those of us who have been selling there a long time, it's definitely good to be off of eBay Island and into a group setting where we can actually discuss our issues. George Haas says paying promoted on items that would have sold anyway is outpacing any extra sales for me. Yeah. So that's why I just can't promote, is because I know these items are going to sell. I don't know when, but I know they are. The eBay can't change desirability. I mean, everything else can, but that's the one thing eBay can't affect is desirability. They can just stop you from getting that sale. That's it. A little baby Rocky Top is only 50 years old, and so is Woody. Little babies. They're your age. Wait, shh. Don't tell how old Spam Banshee is. I'm 54 years old. I'm 54 years old. Definitely 54. 54 years old. I really don't trust eBay's numbers anymore, and you can't. And I think that's it. Now we're just talking about who's the bigger old man. So I win, by the way. Thank you, me. Thank you. Thank you. I'm the oldest old man. And I am going to leave now, and we are going to be back tomorrow at 2:30. Thank you all, everybody. Hey, Fro. I don't know. Everybody, thank you, everybody, for joining us. We will see you tomorrow. Oh, Rocky Talk Pipker says, Primo, would you like to have a guest on the Reseller Rocker Room podcast? Sure. I'm game for anything. Yeah, let me know. How do you get a hold of me? Instagram. Get a hold of me on Instagram. Now. Oh, Lord. Okay. Get a hold of me on Instagram. I'm just remembering that yes, I'll be on your show. And I think Biscuit Butt asked me to, and it's on my Instagram. If I know that you're going to send me a message on Instagram, then I'll go look at it, but I normally don't look at it. So I will be, yes, I would love to be on your show. Thank you. Kent wins 61, and nobody else needs to be, it's not a race to the oldest. I would like to give you the honorable Kent Hamilton, 61 years old. 26 years on the roller coaster called eBay life. Hey Frost is actually going to be out, so he won't be here tomorrow, but we will be at 2:30. And with that, Jeff says you make a smile. Thank you very much. And we will see you tomorrow at 2:30, guys. Good luck to you selling, and love you all. Take care. Nesbitt Experience $9.99 came in at the last second with a $9.99 super chat. Thank you so much, Amy. Really appreciate that. For Kevin Craig Innes, stop it. Don't do that. I mean, do that, but wait, hold on. I honestly feel touched. Hold on. I'm going to see if I can squeeze out a tear. We're going to make your mom cry. Oh my gosh. I think I'm tearing almost. No, it's blurry. This eye's blurry, Bridget. This eye's blurry. Thank you so much. Really, really, really appreciate that. So sweet. And you all take care. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you. Thanks, Amy.